So we've taken our next step in this infinite journey of enlightenment. A series of events have taken place that has brought us to where we are right now. This is the most important time of our lives. It's in this very moment which exists prior to a thought that we have the potential to be. Being exists in this moment, in this time, and knowing, seeing, feeling, and experiencing all that there is right now. Stay tuned as Ron Ash teaches how to locate our special gift, connect with spirit, and intentionally create our experiences.
Welcome to Being with Ron Ash. I'm Ron Ash, your host. If you're tuning in for the first time, we are the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Our show is live with our affiliate 1510 AM Revolution Boston in beautiful Marina Bay. The show is also aired with affiliate Spirit Quest Radio, SQR.FM. For a full schedule, go to dreamvision7radio.com. It's great to be here today. I'm very excited about today's show. We have Chad Lilly from Yakima, Washington, as our guest today. Chad is the owner of Inner Circle Publishing and the Aware Talk Radio. I want you to welcome my co-host also, Kerry Lopasky from Tequesta, Florida. Hello, Kerry.
Hi, Ron. How you doing? Can't wait to hear from Chad today.
Excellent today. Quite a bit of a change in the weather here in Boston, Massachusetts at Marina Bay. A lot more windy than usual and a little nippy, if I don't say so myself.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, I'm here in Florida, as you know, and it's been very hot all summer long. And starting yesterday, it started to cool down for us just a little bit. Now, when I say cool down for us, it's probably still hot for you, but you know, we're probably somewhere in the high 70s, low 80s this evening. So it's really, really nice. Beautiful, beautiful day and night.
So we have Chad Lilly from Inner Circle Publishing as our guest tonight. Chad is at the cutting edge as far as author promotions go and publishing.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm very excited to hear from him today. You've told me a lot about him, and I'm really interested in learning a lot more. So I can't wait to get a chance to speak with him.
Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's bring him in on the conversation. Chad, how are you?
I am great. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for the invite. It's great to hear you. And Kerry, is that your name from Florida?
Yes, it is. Hi, how are you doing?
I am just smiling to be here. It's good to hear from you.
So, Chad, tell us a little bit about Inner Circle Publishing.
Well, where to begin? I was born in 1973. No, I'm just
the son of a poor sharecropper.
Yeah, there you go.
And it made you who you are today.
Wow, let's start writing right now. This is good stuff.
Oh, Inner Circle is a bunch of authors that are what we always refer to as aware. I started this 10 years ago, and on our very first book, on the back of it, the tagline with our web address has always been, "Are you aware?" Mm-hmm. And question mark, with innercirclepublishing.com. And that's on the back of all of the titles we've ever published, which now is over 70. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wow, that's incredible.
So, but Inner Circle is about awareness. I mean, that's the short answer of it. It's about awareness, understanding spirituality, and finding authors that are seeing that stuff naturally inside, writing it down, and want to have it shared with the rest of the world.
Wow, very good. Actually, one of my favorite books is from your publishing company. It's the Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible by Stephen Hayfield, I believe.
Yeah, Stephen Hayfield, absolutely.
Yep. I bought it on an e-copy, and I liked it so much, and I was a little frustrated with reading on the computer. I like to be able to have the mobility to have the book with me, and I don't know, I like to hold that in my hand, so I actually ordered it. And it's really something that I'm planning on passing on from generation to generation. It's really some very good stuff.
See, Ron, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. That's why I do this. And that's why every author who's published with this wrote it. That's why Stephen wrote it. Mm-hmm. That's why every other author writes what they write, and because their message, they've got something unique to share with the world. And to hear how it affects readers, which is a rare opportunity these days. You don't always get to hear, directly from those who see your work or read your work. So to hear that from you, I really appreciate that. And, kind of gives me chills, man.
Well, it's honest, it's heartfelt, it's really an incredible book, and the thing is, like you said, we become aware, and these books end up coming into our lives just at the right time, and a lot of the things that he said in there were things that I always understood as truths.
I completely agree. And here's the funny thing. When I meet these people from all over the world, I recognize the same thing you just said, is that these are truths I've seen in myself. I come across them. They have it written down. It's pretty obvious they didn't get it from me. I didn't get it from them. That's a fascinating phenomenon going on in the world right now, that you can get millions of individual people, all individual like snowflakes, with their fingerprints and all that, and yet here they are intuiting or seeing the same things, having the same visions, having the same internal dialogues, and that's fascinating. And I appreciate meeting people like that, especially those that write, because that is what Inner Circle is about, is publishing that kind of material specifically to flood the world with it. We like to think that the more of these thoughts that people are thinking, the quicker we get to shifting the whole world.
And it really applies to just about every area of our lives when you really examine it and look at it. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about relationships today, but a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about, it's going to apply to your careers. It's going to apply to your family life. It's going to apply to pretty much anything else. If you could see it and you can feel it, you can hold it in your hand. It can be yours. And the same thing goes with especially relationships. A lot of times people begin a relationship under a false premise. They're not themselves at the beginning. And if you're somebody other than who you are at the beginning, you're going to attract that person who you're pretending to be. And this is going to always get you the wrong person in your life.
Interesting. I think my suggestion would be to start with the ultimate relationship, self. How many people are, like you just said, honest with themselves in that relationship? Well, how many people are actually honest just with themselves to begin with?
Oh, exactly. That's the biggest part of it. Kerry, do you have something to add?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, it just goes back to the old quote that you hear time and time again, love yourself first, and you really have to know how to love yourself and be with yourself, and you'll never feel alone if you can be alone with yourself. I just think, having that feeling that that you can really get to know yourself and have a relationship with yourself, you can share so much more with another person to bring into that little circle that you live in, and then it's just, it's just the way that it goes, and it's been said time and time again. So you guys are right on the mark. I mean, with that.
And that's the problem too. A lot of people they're looking for someone to fulfill them when the fulfillment actually will come from inside. Like you said, Chad, you have to find that love of self. I mean, if you can't love yourself, you won't be able to love another person.
And maybe, I'm just throwing this out there as a maybe, but I would guess that that's probably why you get the divorce rate that you get, the high percentage of 50, 60%, divorce rate, or complete unhappiness in relationships, because a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of what their partner is supposed to be, doing for them. And it might be shocking for them to find out that, wait a minute, it's not another person's responsibility to, create my ego or self-esteem or, sustain me, while we all need help and can, use a hand every now and again. It's ultimately got to be your decision to fulfill a lot of those things that we transfer that responsibility onto our partners a lot of time. And I'm just saying, maybe that's why relationships don't always work out so well.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I have friends that continually and consistently get into relationships with the same personality type again and again and again, to their dismay. Mm-hmm. It's not what they want. They're seeking someone to fulfill them. And what they end up with is these dominating relationships where they can't make a move on their own, and this person is a huge part of what they do and who they are, and they never end up being themselves, and it just never works out for them, and they keep repeating it over and over again in relationship after relationship after relationship. They try to be the person who they believe the potential partner wants them to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
trying to fake it until they make it.
Exactly.
But I've noticed this though, and maybe you guys do this as well, but I draw not just people but situations into my life over and over and over, and it seems to be to teach me something. It seems to be like the universe is aligning all the atoms in the whole universe to do this dance, just to teach me something. And because, like for instance, key frustration. Frustration is really the thing that comes around, little itty bitty things that would just kind of, frustrate me. This is just one of those things I'm overcoming in my life. But even to this day, I've noticed that the situations keep coming around until you learn whatever the lesson it's trying to show you is. And then it seems to mysteriously go away.
Yeah. I feel that that's part of it, and it absolutely happens that way. Until you get it, you won't be able to graduate. And what it is there are all these different levels in our ascension. We're on an infinite ascension. It never ends. It just continues forever. Even when our bodies cease to function, our spirits continue to move on, and we still continue to learn, and we continue to grow. So, I mean, that's probably what happens to a lot of my friends who are getting themselves into these relationships, but they don't learn from it. They just seem to want this person that is like this, I don't know the word. It's just like they're basically a haunt in their lives. And at first they like the attention. They like to have this person in their life and involved in every waking minute of every waking day. And then after a while, and again, it's usually 6 months is the magic number. After 6 months, they can't take it anymore. They're tired of it. And they keep repeating the same scenario again and again and again. And not so coincidentally, that 6 month period is usually the amount of time it takes for the real person to come out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what I
yeah, 6 months. That seems to be the golden rule.
And don't you guys think that sometimes people fall in love with the idea of somebody?
Yeah.
Like, they look at them and they say, oh, they're driving a BMW, or, oh, they're driving and look, oh, they're dressed so nice, and they have this great job, and that just means so much security. But didn't we all find out, during this big financial crisis, if you want to call it, that all that stuff was really just an illusion. It was an idea that people fell in love with, but it wasn't the real security that they thought it was. And then, that was what they based their relationship on, and then they found there was nothing. And I think that's part of the reason why the rates, divorce rates and everything's gone up so much in the last 2 years. But the idea of someone is not what you want to fall in love with. You want to make sure that you go deeper. That's the best advice I could give to anyone starting a relationship. Go a little deeper. Ask the questions that you're thinking, that you think sound stupid. Ask the questions before you jump in full force.
I like that. Go ahead, Ryan.
I've had the best luck just being exactly who I am right out of the gate. This way, probably the first date, or at least maybe less than a handful of dates, they know who I am. They know if they want to be with me or they don't want to be with me, and it's their prerogative to stay or get out.
It might sound hard, but it's the truth.
Have you ever considered what makes us fall in love with someone anyway? What makes us love someone or care about someone, or even decide to be friends with them? What is that? What is it that we're getting in return? And I've thought about this and come to the conclusion that a lot of our relationships are based on how that person makes us feel. Whether or not we love them, or it's just a friend, or someone, we like to be around people who make us feel good. And so with that being said, and that being kind of a basic truth, a lot of relationship is all about me, me, me. It's all about a hedonistic desire to fill some perceived void, like in our soul. That seems to be what I see happening over and over and over. And like any drug, it's good for a while, about 6 months, like you said.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the negative effects start to outweigh the, positive effects, and then there it is,
And the most prevalent thing that people say when they get to that end of that 6 months period is they'll turn to you and they'll say, "Boy, wow, you really changed. You're not the person that you used to be."
Yeah.
Because the person that other person used to be never existed. It was fake. It was just a put on to try to reel the other one in.
Yeah.
But if we sit and we're still and we be who we are and we do the things that we love to do, eventually the universe will provide that right person for us. But if we keep taking the wrong person, that right person is never going to come into the picture because we're just not ready for them.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. It's definitely something to think about right there.
It seems to me that a lot of the times I don't want to exactly phrase this, but in relationships, in the beginning, like you say, that there's a major shift in who the person is or who we perceive them to be. A lot of times, that person that changes is you, the observer.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you're projecting, and I'm not saying you guys on the phone, I'm just saying all of us do this, but we all project what we perceive or what we think are the dominant thoughts in our head that we're manifesting. We all perceive that, sometimes, I want to say falsely. I mean, because we really think this is what I want. I really want, the girl that looks like this, or I really want the guy that drives this car or makes this, this status. And you really think that's what you want, and you're unconsciously walking around dreaming about it so much that you bring it to pass. When you get it, it's not really what you want.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
So it's not just the other person putting on a facade. A lot of times we're deceiving ourselves.
Yep, true. Yep. A lot of times we only think we know what we really want. The call-in number, by the way, listeners, is 617-237-1234. We'd like to hear from you if you have any relationship issues that you'd like to have ironed out. If you have any past experience you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Again, that number is 617-237-1234. Chad, you really reminded me of a thought I had a few days ago, and it was that sometimes I get it. I'll hear it from my wife. Ron, you really changed. But now we're talking 24 years of being together. So I think that we all grow. So I mean, I have grown. I have become a lot more spiritual. I really can't put my finger on it exactly, but I have to say, my spiritual growth accelerated back in 2004, and that was on January 1st when my mother passed away. And I actually began to get several messages from my mother. Not verbally, but I began to see her birthday a lot, 8/11, on the clocks, on the odometers, on license plates. I actually had an experience where I was sitting in the lobby of my building, and one of my tenants came out and introduced himself to one of his new customers. And my mother's name was very rare. I went through my entire life maybe knowing one other person named Anita up to 2004. And wouldn't you know it, Paul introduced himself. He says, "My name's Paul, by the way." And she says, "Oh, my name's Anita." And this is the day after my mother's funeral. Previously to the funeral, I was at Burlington Coat Factory buying a suit for the funeral, and I needed sales assistant. And wouldn't you know it, they called the sales clerk over, and her name was also Anita. And, then I started really getting these chills and goosebumps. It was like a strong vibration through my whole body whenever I realized that she was sending me these messages.
Yeah, and it was a repeat performance for me. Same thing. I mean, and it just started, and between then and now, between Ron and I think probably a 90% growth spiritually. Since that moment in time, and we're just on the path now, and you can't help but feel like you're changing because your view of the world just changes. What you think you saw all this time growing up, and you had these little things that would come in your mind once in a while, but you pretty much dismiss them as, crazy life happening. But now when you get these messages and when you see these signs and things, I mean, you just take so much more notice of them. And when you bring them into your life as real, your life just changes, and you do change. And I could see after being married, like you said, for 24 years, you started off as a kid, and now you've really grown not only into a man, but you've grown into this spiritual being as well. And you do. It's a shift.
And I just seem to get this unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and different books would just kind of materialize, and different people would just kind of present themselves in my life who had some information for me. Well, Chad, Kerry, we'll be back. We're going to take a brief commercial break. And again, that number is 617-237-1234. Anyone wants to call in, we'd be glad to hear from you. We'll be back in a few.
Interested in promoting yourself, your business, or your platform? If so, you should contact RMA Associates for the most cost-effective ways to promote what you do. RMA has over 25 years of experience helping their clients grow while meeting the challenges of an ever-changing market. Email RMA today at rma.associates@yahoo.com for more information. Again, that's rma.associates@yahoo.com.
Would you like to be a radio star? Now there's a show that allows holistic business owners to test the radio wave waters with ease. Host your own show on the Global Holistic Exchange. Send your message over the Greater Boston airwaves and internationally via the Internet. For more information, contact Deborah Beauvais, Deborah@DreamVision7radio.com, or call 508-226-1723. 508-226-1723. The Global Holistic Exchange is all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
The Apostles' Recipe for Happiness breaks new ground in exposing the attainable miracles so prevalent in the first book ever written on the law of attraction. Through true life experiences with modern-day scenarios, the mystery and magic of the Holy Bible unfold as you learn to recognize the signs that God places on the path He intends for you to follow. Through the mastery of divine guidance, you can connect to God's energy and create a life without limits. This is a book everyone should read who is interested in building godly character. I read it in one evening and couldn't put it down. Gary Sigler, Kingdom Resources. What an amazing job at making a clearly defined guide for a happy life. The Apostles' Recipe for Happiness is compelling and is of value not only to Christians everywhere, but also to people of unbelief. Ruth Cannell, Christian Magazine Now. Pick up your copy of The Apostles' Recipe for Happiness today and start living the life of your dreams tomorrow. Available at Barnes & Noble, booksellers, Amazon.com, and everywhere quality books are sold. Sample all Ron Ash's books for free at beingwithronash.wordpress.com.
Are you searching for a way to help create global change? Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's vision is to have an eclectic group of radio hosts dedicated to educating, enlightening, and helping humankind with positive messages and tools that enhance lives using different modalities and programs. If you would like to join our team and help illuminate the universe, call Deborah at 508-226-1723 or Deborah at dreamvision7radio.com.
Join us on Kids Health Reservoir with pediatric acupuncturist Maria Broderick as we explore how to help keep kids healthy naturally every Sunday at 10 a.m. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
welcome back. That was Stacey Craig Davison taking us on a break. You can pick up her new CD. We're listening to it on the way in today at StaceyDavidsonMinistries.com or at Amazon.com. That's Stacey Craig Davison, Narrow Gate. Well, it's great to be back. Chad and Kerry, Chad Lilly from Inner Circle Publishing. You can check out Inner Circle Publishing and all their fine authors and books at InnerCirclePublishing.com. And Kerry Lopasky, spiritual photographer from Tequesta, Florida, is also back with us. We're going to go to the phones, and we have Marsha from Smithfield on the line. Hello, Marsha.
Hello.
It's great to have you on.
Hi, Ron. Is it Ron?
Yep.
Oh, how you doing? Sound different.
Hey, that's my radio voice. Everything sounds a little different in the studio.
That's the Ron I know, yeah.
It's not really my radio voice. It's just the incredible equipment that they have over here at the studios.
You sound like you now. But interesting show. I just wanted to call in and say how nice it is. Very good.
You know a little bit about metaphysics.
Right. Well, I just want to tell you how I attracted the right person.
And what was your secret to attracting the right person?
Well, I mean, I've probably read this and heard this many times, and I just practice it. What I did is I wrote down exactly all the qualities that I wanted in my, well, you can call him a soulmate, in the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and he just materialized.
Yep, that's what usually happens. You send out that vibration, and it all starts from knowing exactly what you want. That's why it was perfect that you actually wrote it down and you made a list. And again, it's the same thing, career-wise, family-wise, or anything else that you want to bring into your life.
Right.
Really knowing what you're requesting. You know, you have to know what you want if you want to, send it out there and expect something to come back, or else it's just going to be a range of chaos. You're not concentrating your energies onto one thing.
Exactly. Yes. So I've got this one all set. Now I'm working on the financial.
Hey, it'll all come together.
It is. It's starting to all come together now, and that's just it. I'm getting focused, and that's the whole idea.
Yep. Keep that worry factor out of the way. Stay focused. Stay positive. And, be all that you're created to be, and things will start happening for you. Once we start concentrating on what we don't want, we'll quickly spiral down towards exactly what we don't want. And it's a shame, because many of us are trained to think the worst-case scenario, and we put all our energies into it. We're passionate about our worst-case scenario, and we quickly spiral down towards exactly what we don't want. And what we really need to do is do the opposite. We need to look up at where we want to be, feel all the emotions associated with that, and then we'll begin to rise up to where we want to be, and that life will be ours.
That's what I'm doing now, and it definitely is it's starting to work, starting to all fall into place, and but it's quite difficult to do that sometimes because you're in that mode, you're in that. It's sort of that energy, and you want to try to break through it. But anyway, so it's working out. It's good. It's all good.
All right. Well, it's great having you calling in.
I know. I really appreciate you having this show. It's a wonderful, wonderful show.
That's what it's all about.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ron.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. So, Chad.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Making a list.
I think it's another excellent example of the relationship we're really having being universal. Mm-hmm. And the way she pointed out, when you state your intentions clearly and put it out, intend it clearly into the universe, well, then the relationship that you're having is with the universe, and it aligns those things to bring to you not only what you ask for and what you intend, but also where you're at, your vibration. When you're requesting it, it's going to, it's like the Doppler effect, it's going to bring that similar or like vibration back to you. And it just seems that's why so many people arrive in our lives, to have relationships with us that reflect these universal lessons back to our soul, And even though the relationship doesn't, quote-unquote, work out, they probably all work out in the sense that they're each a lesson that's showing you another aspect of this relationship with the soul that you're having that just happens to look like it's coming to another person.
Yeah. That's really true. That's how it does seem.
But once we know that, we can interact. Apparently, we can interact with it in a way that is to our advantage. I mean, by knowing that, you can get yourself on that vibration, be clear about yourself. Okay, look, so this is who I am. This is what's important to me. This is my values. This is my habits. This is all of me. You know? And be honest with that, so that therefore you're emanating that level of vibration. Then when you clearly intend to get what you really need back, that's what will show up, I think.
You know, when I initially began the Creative Cultural Center, I kind of had an idea of what it was going to look like, what it was going to be like. I didn't really know anything about law of attraction. I never saw the movie or read the book The Secret. I knew nothing about metaphysics at all. And I just kind of put a note out on Craigslist. You know, I have this property. I'd like to, you know, have some classes, and I'd like to have the people that are giving the classes have some kind of ownership in it. I don't really know where to go with this. And next thing I know, I started getting a lot of phone calls from people in the holistic health and wellness field, law of attraction, life coaches, and all these things I never heard of before. And as a matter of fact, I had the first manuscript for the Apostles' Recipe for Happiness. And I actually met a woman named Mary Lou Bresson, who was an expert on law of attraction. And I said, you know something, Mary Lou, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give you my manuscript to read. She read through it. About a week later, we got back together, and she put it in my hands, and she says, you know something, Ron? This entire manuscript is all law of attraction principles. And I was like, what's that? You know, and I think about a week later, she came back to me and she gave me that movie, The Secret. And then I was like watching that, and I said to myself, oh my God, I've been using these principles unintentionally my entire life.
Yeah.
But it's just an example of how these people start coming into your life. There were probably, you know, 5 initial people that came into it, and then before you know it, there were 10, then there were 20, and I think at one point we were up in, you know, the high 30s as far as people coming to that thing and sitting in different groups.
But don't you feel like that's happening all over the world?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Not in an organized rally or protest kind of thing, you know, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's spiritually organized.
It is.
People that are resonating on those levels find themselves naturally, you know, doing those similar activities from an internal push, not from an external one, and that's what's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you that we must be having a dynamic relationship with society on that level too, rather than just individual ones.
Well, it's the same way that we crossed each other's paths. I mean, I didn't know you. I can't even recall how it happened. I'm just so accustomed to this happening to me now. I don't even really think about it. It just happens to me so often. So, you know, all of a sudden, what is the chance that I ended up, you know, coming across your name in particular, somebody in Yakima, Washington? You know, here I am, Providence, Rhode Island, broadcasting from Quincy, Massachusetts.
I'm way out here in Florida. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum here.
You know?
Well, I have 2 words for that. I know how that occurred, and my 2 words for that are Twitter and @ICP-Chad, because that is one of the ways that I've found that we're being able to broadcast our minds, our thought streams, our mentalities for a lot more people to read. They don't have to just be your physical neighbor anymore. They could be in Rhode Island. They could be in Florida. They can be in Beijing. and they can still resonate with you if that's where they're at as well. And I see tribes, spiritual tribes that are, forming mostly online. But again, what is online? It's a metaphysical meeting of the minds, a playground of zeros and ones. But it's still a meeting of minds where people are coming together that way, and that's how a lot of us are coming in contact and having relationships now. So I always applaud Twitter.
And you're really a master of that whole social media promotion thing. I mean, you really do a lot for your authors at Inner Circle. I'm really... how many followers do you have on Twitter right now?
Something like 18,000.
Wow.
There. But that's, I appreciate you saying that, but it's not, it's not so much that I'm a quote unquote master of social media. It's that I'm doing it because I get something out of it for me. It's a place where I go to post my thoughts and get live instant feedback from other people who are sitting there right now going, oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking this too, and I thought I was the only one. It's not just me, or this guy in Yakima thinking it too.
Yep. Something that it's incredible that it's like this matrix where this information is just carried over, and if your antenna is up, you're going to get the information, because I'll write something, and then the next day I'll see somebody on TV talking about it, or I'll hear somebody on the radio talking about it. So, how can that be?
I mean, really? I mean, do you know about the 100th monkey principle?
No, I know nothing about 100 monkeys or the principle.
Well, it's real simple. Monkeys always, eat potatoes on this island. And they were doing an observation of them. And one morning, out of the blue, one mother monkey takes potatoes out of the dirt and takes them down to the riverbed and starts washing them. Then she eats the washed ones and gives the washed ones to her young. And this is, she's just an anomaly out of nowhere for no reason. Well, the next thing, about less than 30 days later, they start seeing monkeys on other islands, in the same chain. Monkeys from other islands are starting to wash their potatoes in the river or in the, in the water. And it goes on and on like that. And apparently consciousness is connected, all consciousness. So when you think those thoughts out, yes, you're exactly right. You're broadcasting them out into the ether. And there are people with antennas to receive them. And by the way, electronic devices now that do receive them as well and project them. But our brains are those stations. We do that naturally anyway, and that's why a lot of times we do put ideas out that other people pick up that just happen to be in the right place at the right time to make it happen, and that's why the consciousness in the universe is giving them the idea, even though you might have had a part in creating it. Hey, that stand-up one-unit washer-dryer thing, that's my idea.
Yeah, how many times does that happen? I've seen my wife come up with some incredible inventions, too, only to see them later on late-night television.
Right, exactly. And, of course, when you're on Twitter broadcasting like that, there are literally companies and people listening that, at any time they could hear the right idea, and because they are in that place where they could implement it immediately, things happen that way as well. Word of mouth is spreading faster now that we're connected digitally.
Definitely. But I think we're going to take another break. We'll be back shortly with Chad Lilly from Inner Circle Publishing and Kerry Lopasky from Tequesta, Florida.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Saturdays 2 to 3 p.m. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Saturday 2 to 3 p.m., all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Thinking about buying a new or pre-owned vehicle but don't want to go it alone? Contact an automotive buyer's representative instead. RI Wheels Buyer's Representatives will save you hundreds or even thousands on your next purchase of a new or pre-owned vehicle. To learn more, email riwheels@aol.com for a free no-obligation consultation. That's riwheels@aol.com. Never drive away thinking you paid too much.
SpiritQuestRadio.com. If I want to listen to life-altering talk radio, I listen to Spirit Quest Radio. World-renowned hosts share the latest news and views about alternative health, marketing, medical, spiritual, and more. Live, call-in, on-demand, and downloadable shows 24/7. Visit SpiritQuestRadio.com and see why tens of thousands listen.
The Global Holistic Exchange Show, a cohesive group of visionary practitioners instilling hope while bringing harmony to the world, now airing 3 hours each week. Join us as we showcase the unique talents of these outstanding hosts. For a complete list of our practitioners, their uplifting shows, and our schedule, go to dreamvision7radio.com.
Learn what the animals are teaching us and how we can support them by tuning into the Animal Connection with Kathy Wells every second and fourth Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. Join us as we listen to the words of wisdom from our animal teachers and meet those who communicate with them. We're part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Find solace and serenity within the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Our transcending shows can be heard on 1510 AM Revolution Boston and with affiliates EnergyTalkRadio.com and SpiritQuestRadio.com. We are terrestrial and internet radio, local, national, and international. For our schedule and to learn more, visit DreamVision7Radio.com.
Are you interested in promoting yourself, your business, or your platform? If so, you should contact RMA Associates for the most cost-effective ways to promote what you do. RMA has over 25 years of experience helping their clients grow while meeting the challenges of an ever-changing market. Email RMA today at rma.associates@yahoo.com for more information. Again, that's rma.associates@yahoo.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Okay, we're back. That was Stacey Craig Davison with Everything Is About You. Great CD available on Amazon and at staceycraigdavison.com. We're back with Chad Lilly of Inner Circle Publishing and Kerry Lopasky from Tequesta, Florida. I'd also remind you, for inspirational essays, valuable links to guests and sponsors, as well as full book reads via Frito.com, visit beingwithronash.wordpress.com. Also, we started last week a internet radio program. Information about that is on the link also. And it is Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Again, that website is beingwithronash.wordpress.com. Welcome back, Chad and Kerry.
Thanks, Ron.
Great to be here.
Isn't it?
It feels so good.
Yep, it's always good. Appreciation, gratitude's a great place to start. You know, I can't help but thinking, we were discussing a few things about energies and what we project, we get back, and people who are connected and have their antennas up, they receive these messages. It also applies to, finding Mr. or Mrs. Right. It's the same type of principle, isn't it, Chad?
I would think so. That's what it looks like to me. That's all I could say about anything anymore.
I mean, because it's the same principle. I mean, people cross my path, at the right time when, I'm ready to receive information, like when
Sure.
Stephen's book, A Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible, came into my life. It verified a lot of my beliefs. I learned a few things also that, I always kind of, was on the fence about, and then I was like, something I can really see it. I guess I'm ready, and what they say is when the student's ready, the teacher appears.
Right. And now we have even more channels and opportunities for everyone as teachers to appear in real time. Not only do books and essays and radio shows and information you're hearing right now, not only is it valuable and needed to you right now, but we have so many live channels, like we were talking about Twitter and Facebook and your show, the same way that people have the opportunity to interact live more and more with more and more people. So like you said, it validates their own experiences. It shows them reflections from more people. It's like we're getting to look into many mirrors now rather than just one or two.
You really get everyone's opinion. It's not just that little closed circle anymore. It's national, it's worldwide, and everyone's vision, it seems, is just... It's like a magnet now. It's like everybody's coming together, and you can't help but be drawn into it. And once you're drawn into it, you just feel so... I mean, for me, I just feel great and wonderful. Anytime you feel low, you can just think of all these good things that you're hearing and talking to people about. There's always somebody to motivate and somebody to always motivate you back, into feeling great.
What about the idea of what it does for the organism as far as conversation? When you think of relationships, how important is conversation in a relationship? How drastically can it change, whether it be improving or not? How drastically can conversation and communication openly change a relationship? We know in the body, the more the cells can communicate with each other, that means health. When they lose the ability to communicate with each other and reproduce, that equals aging. So what happens when, on a spiritual level, all the communication metaphysically is allowed to take place openly? So you have greater forms of communication. Now all of a sudden the spiritual world is communicating with each other better. Every cell is in communication. And I think that makes this shift our consciousness faster than we even imagine right now.
Oh, it's happening so fast. This whole shift, everyone becoming more spiritual, or at least being open about their spirituality, not being afraid of being, put inside a little box of maybe one or two or three, whatever the religion is, but actually just feeling like all the religions have something valid, have something spiritual that everyone could be on the same page about.
Right.
It's just great. It's awesome.
Often we begin to see things the way we interpret the world to see them, like what the world sees as right. We tend to matriculate in that direction, and sometimes in that we lose ourselves. And there's also a lot of people these days that are waking up, like you're saying, Chad and Kerry, but they're confused. They're trying to fit into, I actually wrote something today that kind of hit the nail right on the head on this. We're trying to put a square peg in a round hole in a lot of situations with regards to these different religious beliefs. And I had somebody from India contact me on Facebook the other day, and he was a little, confused by the whole thing. And he was actually saying, he says, I consider myself to be a Christian, but, some of my beliefs, people are telling me that's New Age. And, I told him, I says, listen, you need to be who you are. I says, the truth is in you. It's in us all, isn't it?
I 100% agree. To the point where what you are is so true that it's not going to fit anywhere but in you. And if you're trying to fit in, some other type of configuration that isn't you, it's probably not going to work out so well. That's probably not going to be an effective relationship.
No, not at all. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, we have to, be very open-minded in these things. And, there's a scripture that refers to old wine and new wine in the Bible. And I really believe that old wine is that, trying to put the messages that we're getting today into that old law, maybe. Could that be true?
I would agree with it. It's true for me. And I would say that we're getting higher ideas now, and it is wanting us to conform to higher laws, as Thoreau said. And when we reach that period in time where everyone hears higher laws, man's law won't really be so needed anymore, because people will just know these things of themselves, just like all the rest of the animals do. So I feel like we're getting to that time where we're starting to hear those higher laws, and we're wanting to adhere to them naturally, not out of some dictator or some church or some state or anybody outside trying to force you to do it. You're just feeling it inside that, yes, this is what I'm to do. And we all feel that and know that to a degree. The more we listen to it, the louder it gets. And then the struggle comes in is, do I adhere to what I hear inside, or do I do what they tell me? And that's what we have to choose, each one of us, whether or not we're going to start abiding. I call it the voice of conscience.
Yeah.
That's what it is to me. That's what I hear. So we're going to have to decide, are we going to listen to that, or are we going to do what the TV tells us, or what the religions have told us, have been telling us, or what tomorrow's New Age religion is going to make up next? Whatever.
Yeah.
We have to decide for ourselves how we're going to act.
You really don't know. And when you're getting down to these translations, I was talking to my daughter about it the other day, and I would say, listen, I said, look at how quickly just the slang changes. One word means one thing today, and tomorrow it means something else. Now go back to 2,000, 3,000 years, and just imagine.
What did it mean then?
Yeah, and you remember in that a lot of those books talk of times when language was confounded. The indication is that apparently one time the whole human race maybe spoke the same language, or was all in direct communication somehow, and then the more it gets fragmented and divided down, the less effectively the species could communicate. And as we were talking about before, the less you can communicate, the less you can organize, the less you can accomplish. Just like cells in the body. Eventually they just break down, become independent, and die. Where our society has done that with words. We're so word structured, and in the beginning was even the what? Oh, yeah, the word. We're word creatures. We're very, we're structured that way, and they've been divided down to where, like you said, the meanings change every 15 minutes. Talk about creating confusion.
Exactly. Well,
this is great.
It was great having you on, Chad. Chad from Inner Circle Publishing. You can check out Chad at innercirclepublishing.com, and I'll be posting a link at beingwithronash.wordpress.com. Great to be here with everyone today. Thanks for that call in, Masha. And we'll be back next month, first Sunday of every month at 7 p.m. from AM 1510 and the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Tune into being monthly every first Sunday, 7 to 8 p.m. to gain guidance and clarity along the path which we are destined to follow. Ron Ash explains how to be all that we are created to be and teaches how to use the power of the now to manifest our dreams into reality. For daily inspiration, please visit his blog at apostleron.wordpress.com. This show is part of the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Tune in next month as Ron Ash continues to teach how to locate our special gift, connect with spirit, and intentionally create our experiences.